I want to bring in Alan Moran now, an energy economist who's called out a lot of the nonsense in this area for many, many years. What's your assessment, Alan, on what it would take for Australia to get to net zero, just in the electricity sector, by 2050?
It would be a very expensive. The only option would be to do it would be, as you said, nuclear, which is about twice the cost of coal gas that we've got at the present time. And it really does mean a total refurbishment of the network. Those people who are talking about the sort of unicorns of carbon, of hydrogen from water and putting the hydrogen through gas pipelines, it is just a total fantasy. It's impossible to do. And those people also say, well, you know, it won't be very painful. In fact, it might even be painless to shift our productivity or our production away from coal-based electricity generation into other areas. It basically says, well, we can get rid of our present comparative advantage and the skills we developed and go into these other exotic areas. It's almost like saying Saudi Arabia would be no worse off if it stopped pumping oil and diverted its resources to other things, or if Brazil stopped producing coffee and did other things. You know, these shifts in production will always be painful and will be quite disastrous in some cases for some economies.
Yeah, but my point, Alan, is this, and that is the practical reality of them being impossible to deliver, and too many people don't want to confront that. For instance, we know the turmoil that's occurred in our electricity sector over the past 2 decades. That's been to get to less than 25% renewable energy. Yet they're saying we could get to 70% renewable with wind farms and solar farms everywhere. Presumably massive amounts of gas-fired generators to cut in when there's no wind blowing, or because the other technology that fails us at the moment is batteries. You just can't store this energy in batteries.
No, you can't. Batteries are a short-term solution. I mean, the BCA report that you refer to is absolutely ludicrous. I mean, they're talking about not by 2050, but by 2030, moving from the present coal gas production level for electricity of 75% to only 15%. I mean, it's just, there is no technologies to do it. It couldn't be possible to be done. And if we were trying to do it, it would be horrendously expensive. You know, it's really folly to imagine that we can actually gain by switching our resources from high productivity, low cost activities to high cost, low productivity activities like wind and solar, for example, which for 20 years have relied on subsidies. We're paying something like $10 billion from taxpayers and from electricity users to subsidize wind and solar at the present time. And there is no sign of this ending. The only sign of it ending is if we do cripple coal so badly that we force the coal mines or the coal producers of electricity to stop producing, and we rely totally on wind and solar, in which case our electricity bills go through the roof anyway.
They will indeed. Let's have a look at the Prime Minister today. He's certainly very forward-leaning on this stuff now.
It's now a question of how, not if. And how is how we can ensure that those communities right across rural and regional Australia can look at this change and understand that there are big opportunities and there's a way through.
It seems strange,
Alan. Opportunities are there, you know, there's great opportunities. We'll pay them to stop producing food and fibre. You know, and that's really what some of the National Party are getting into now, saying, we'll go along with this as long as you pay our people a lot of money to stop producing. Because basically a great deal of the CO2 and the methane that is allegedly causing the warming comes out of the agricultural sector.
It seems weird that we decide to work out how to do it after we decide we have to do it. Bizarre stuff. Thanks for joining us, Alan. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Alan Moran there, who's an energy economist. It's extraordinary stuff, isn't it? How to get to net zero? Well, one way would be to use nuclear energy, but that's in my doco coming up in less than 2 weeks.